Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this meeting of the Section 23 Planning Authority Committee. It is 5:15 on Monday, December 7th. Council acknowledge and pay respects to the Tasmanian Aboriginal community as the traditional and original owners and continuing custodians of this land. All persons in attendance are advised that it's Council policy to record council meetings in accordance with Council's digital recording policy, and the audio and the recording of this meeting will be made available to the public on Council's website for a minimum period of 6 months. And also just a reminder that the meeting is being live streamed by YouTube. Item 1 is apologies. We have apologies from Councillor Ennis and Councillor Jarman, although they aren't members of this committee, they are usually observers. And everyone on the committee is actually present at this point. Item 2 is declarations of interest. Do I have any declarations in any item on this agenda?
Yes, you do, Mayor.
Councillor Murphy.
Item 4.1.
4.1, thank you. Are there any other declarations of interest in any item on the agenda?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
Yes, copy of which of item 4.1.
Thank you. Are there any other declarations of interest in any item? No? Thank you. Item 3 is delegated approvals, and item 3.1 is planning applications approved under delegated authority. Can I have a mover that these approvals be received, please?
So moved.
Second. Perry, Councillor Murphy. Any comment, Councillor Perry?
It's merely procedural, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Murphy?
Nothing further.
Any comments, questions? Councillor Perry to close?
Consider it closed.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any against? Motion's carried unanimously. Item 4.1, PA 2020.0142 is 94 Winspears Road, and I note that Councillor Alexia and Councillor Murphy have left the meeting. Do I have a mover of the recommendation, please?
I'll move it for discussion, thanks.
Councillor Perry, thank you. Do I have a seconder?
Seconded.
Councillor Holster, thank you. Councillor Perry.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, look, this is clearly an interesting one, and there's a couple of sides to this. And the application as a standalone application is relatively sound. I don't think there's any issue with that, but there are a couple of issues that have given rise to refusal by a planning department, and that's fair enough. That's how it works. I do have a question. I think I need to ask a question before going further. I guess it would be to either Alex, Joyce. I note the application was validated under Council's previous planning scheme, which was the Devonport Interim Planning Scheme 2013. Under that scheme, the property was zoned rural resource. Now, as at October 18, 2020, the new planning scheme took effect, was declared, and became the Tasmanian Planning Scheme -D, meaning Devonport. I guess my question is, if the application was validated under the previous planning scheme, I'm just trying to get some sense around, once the application was in train, what actually happens to that application when it transitions from one planning scheme to another? Should it be assessed under the previous planning scheme or the new planning scheme? That's my question. I'm sure you've got the answer, but there's no clarity in the actual report for the answer. So if you could just answer that, Alex, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. So through you, Madam Mayor, certainly so under LUPA, currently there's no transition provisions. So under the previous planning scheme, when Council was under the Devonport Interim Planning Scheme, 18th of October went to the Tasmanian Planning Scheme, and there's no transition provision. So if someone lodged an application under the DIPS, what we'd call, we're now under the Tas Planning Scheme, that's how it's got to be assessed. The legislation doesn't give any pathway to assess it under the previous scheme.
Any application in train prior to October 18 lapses when the new planning, okay.
Correct, yeah.
All right. Well, pretty much, I mean, with all the evidence in the report and the narrative around the report, we as a planning committee are compelled, in my view, to support the refusal on the basis that it's been reclassed as now considered prime agricultural land, and there just doesn't seem to be a pathway to an approval for this application. So I'll just leave it at that for now.
Thank you, Councillor.
Hear other speakers. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hollister.
Yes, I've got a question as well. Would this have got through under the old planning scheme? I don't believe it would have, but just under.
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, there was certainly a pathway under the previous planning scheme for subdivision. That was a discretionary application, so we would have had to assess it on its merits. In my opinion, no, it would have certainly been a marginal, more than likely to be refused, and it was still under the previous planning scheme.
Thank you. I think then it's quite obvious that under the recommendations, we really haven't got any choice. No, if we'd have passed it, we'd have to have found reasons to justify that, and I don't think we can. And virtually, it's hit on the head virtually straight away from the prime agricultural land, and it's very hard to go anywhere else. Nothing further to add.
Thank you, Councillor Hollister. Are there any comments? Councillor Milborn.
Thank you. Yes, I agree with my learned colleagues here that it's very difficult for us to go with the recommendation. However, I think some of the things that were brought up in the planning was proposal that were quite valid from a farming sense. It makes it very difficult to farm there, and perhaps there's a big enough argument there for it to be rezoned, but unfortunately we do not have it passed.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Further question, if I may, Madam Mayor.
We have a further question, Councillor Hollister.
Also to the painters, actually all through the application, there was a response put forward by the applicant, or by the applicant's painter, mostly justifying things, whereas under the scheme that's not justified. Like, how much truth have we got? You know, somebody puts in an application, how much truth has it got to be? But as far as our painters are saying, that's not valid. You know, that's to be rejected, and yet the people put the application in. That's justified response after response after response.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Thank you. So, yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, certainly I guess it's a bit of an interesting scenario, this one, as in the application was actually initially accepted under the previous planning scheme. So the agricultural specialist has based the supporting rationale off the previous planning scheme standards. But now if we have a look at the current standards for the agricultural zone, unfortunately there's not a subdivision pathway there that can be supported.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? I'll ask Councillor Perry to close, then thank you.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Just before I do close, just one further question to Alex. Was the applicant made aware that the TPSD was imminent, like the changeover on October 18? Did we make the applicant aware to give them some time to perhaps make some changes to the application, or try and refine it to the point where it may have had a chance or may have had a pathway open to it?
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, certainly the applicant was made aware of the change. Right. I guess what we've got to look at, we're looking at the agricultural zone, and the subdivision standards are really quite hard to meet for residential intention. So,
thank you.
Right, thank you. Yeah, well, that's all in the report. Clearly, the pathway can't be found under the current with the current application. So, I guess I could just leave it at that, and I'll have to be supporting, or will be supporting, Council's recommendation that it be refused. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll close the debate and put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any against? The motion's carried unanimously. Thank you. I'll just ask. Up to item 4.2 on page 19, PA 2020.0199 at 46 Murray Street, the two-lot subdivision. Do we have a move of the recommendation, please?
So moved.
Councillor Hollister, do I have a seconder?
Do it. Yeah.
Councillor Murphy, thank you. Councillor Hollister.
Yes, so I actually walk past this block just about every day when I go for a walk, and it's quite obvious that there's enough room there to have it subdivided into the existing houses, obviously on one side of the block, and it's obviously a double block, so it needs the planning soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Yes, I think the report sort of comes back to it. Having had a look at this myself, and it's, I think it makes a bit of logical sense there for it to proceed. So I note that there has been a number of conditions that have been required for the developer to meet. So as long as those conditions are met, I see no issue with it.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Councillor Hollister to close.
Consider it closed.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any against? Motion's carried unanimously. I think that brings us to the end. Thank you. I'll call the meeting to a close at 5:26. Thank you, everyone.